And welcome to Hannity. And tonight, it is the one-year anniversary of what is probably the single worst running mate selection in American history. Just to remind you.
Look, I will be the first to tell you, I have poured my heart into my community. I've tried to do the best I can, but I've not been perfect. And I'm a knucklehead at times, but it's always been about that. Many times I will talk a lot. I will get caught up in the rhetoric. But being there, the impact it made, the difference it made in my life, I learned a lot about China.
I'm running for vice president. I'm a knucklehead. Well, he isn't just a knucklehead. He's extreme, he's radical, he's erratic, and he might be one of the worst governors in the country. Coming up, Tommy Lahren will help us mark this pathetic anniversary, plus major concerns surrounding a deadly new virus out of China. Here's the big question, though. Are we being lied to yet again by the communist Chinese? Can you trust what they are telling the world? Also, President Trump is now threatening to federalize Washington, D.C. after a former DOJ employee was beaten on the streets by a violent mob of criminals. But we begin with a very serious warning. The Democratic Party is going from bad to worse. A transformation is now underway. And extremism is taking root right before your very eyes. And understand this, while most of you will likely dismiss this, in the era of Trump, this is something that can never, ever happen in America. I'm telling you, you could not be any more wrong. History has proven again and again, radicalism, socialism, statism, whatever ism we want to put on it, it can rise to power in ways you don't even imagine just a few years before. Yes, they can be voted into power. You know, Reagan was not wrong in his understanding that freedom is but one generation away from extinction. Now, it may seem far-fetched today, again, in the era of Trump, but pay close attention. Now, tonight, instead of just hearing from me, we're going to let you hear from Democrats in their own words. And we begin with someone who is billed as a moderate from Michigan. That's Senator Elise Slotkin, who is now heaping praise on Zoran Marxist Mamdani. Wow, some moderate. Take a look.
The economy and a new generation of leadership, to me, are keys to bringing that next generation into politics.
Is that why you think Mamdani in New York had so much success? It wasn't necessarily his progressiveness, it was his age?
Yeah, I've said very openly that I never would be called an expert on New York City politics, but the two messages were like a blinking red light. How can you miss them? People are still extremely focused on the cost of living and how they can't get ahead. Still the motivating issue. And then number two, they want that new generation of leadership.
That's the new generation of leadership, radical Marxism, rooted in anti-Semitism, anti-capitalism, anti-American exceptionalism, is now sweeping the Democratic Socialist Radical Party. Democrats like Slotkin are either too cowardly to stand up against it, or they are actually true believers in the values of Marxism, socialism, statism. Now, New York City mayoral candidate Zoran Marxist Mamdani would have been laughed out of the Democratic Party just a few short years ago. Now, here he is in every way a true believer of full-blown Karl Marx socialism, to each according to their need, from each according to their ability. And by the way, if you're white, you pay more taxes, but don't take my word for it. Again, we report, you decide.
Socialism. Terrifying word. A lot of people are afraid of the word socialism, and a lot of people have misconceptions about what it means. I'm a democratic socialist, and what socialism means to me is a commitment to dignity, a state that provides whatever is necessary for its people to live a dignified life.
But I sincerely believe in this political project. I sincerely believe in socialism. And knowing what it is that brought you here, right? For me, it was Palestine that brought me into this movement.
So-called mainstream Democrats now endorsing, now supporting, now praising Mamdani. And his ultimate goal is for the government to seize the means of production. In other words, he wants the government takeover of every business by force. Government-run grocery stores. I'm sure that'll be just as good as government-run schools. He also wants the government to seize private property. He doesn't believe in billionaires. He wants to place New Yorkers in communes. Very nice, comrade. Anyway, he is a card-carrying member of the Democratic Socialists of America, or the DSA. And here are just a few of the goals from Mamdani's comrades in the DSA. Take a look.
You also talk about, in addition to abolition of family policing, you argue for abolition of the family in general, and say that the institution of the family acts as part of the carceral system in the way that it reinforces children as property.
I'm also a Baptist minister, whole other story. And on that revolutionary horizon, want to perform abortions in a church, but before it's all said and done.
My feelings on marriage is echoed in the quote by Thomas Sankara, who, was sort of the leader of Burkina Faso's revolution against the French, that the only real difference between marriage and prostitution is the price and the duration of the contract.
Why are they all afraid to show their faces? Abortion in churches, abolishing families, and let's not forget free gender reassignment surgeries for everyone in America, and they'll give you free transportation and a hotel generously paid for by the taxpayers of New York City under Mamdani. Of course, take a look.
Most importantly is we collaborated with the Zoran Mamdani campaign on his trans rights platform. And what we explicitly wanted to do was use the power of New York City to provide free gender-affirming care, and I say free in case insurance companies decide to boot us off, free gender-affirming care, not just to people in New York City, but across the country. And it's funny because I'm like, Zoran is literally attempting to do what conservatives say, we want to do, which is provide gender-affirming care to anyone who wants it for free, and we're going to ship people, we're going to fly people in and pay for their hotel rooms, and we're going to do all of the Fox News stuff.
All right, a bit crazy, but not according to Slotkin, who's supposed to be a, quote, moderate Democrat, or any other major elected Democrat. Now, you would, kind of be hard-pressed to find anyone on the left openly criticizing their radical socialist base. They know this is now the majority view of their base, of their party, of the most outspoken voices. That's why Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, they are leaders in name only. They're not real leaders. They won't take on their base. And let's be very clear, Marxist Mamdani is not an anomaly. Understand this. He's the heart and soul of the party, along with Jasmine Crockett, AOC, the Squad, Grandpa Bernie, Pocahontas. In Minneapolis, there's a fellow socialist named Omar Fatah, and he's now backed by the Democratic Party in his run for mayor against an incumbent Democrat. In addition to backing the key tenets of Marxism, Omar Fatah has also vowed to block ICE from deporting illegal immigrants, and like Mamdani, Fatah plans to stop sending a police response to a variety of 911 calls. This is genius. Take a look.
Protecting all of our communities from Donald Trump means not letting MPD interact with ICE, whether it's for an immigration raid or not. Our residents deserve a mayor that will stand up to Donald Trump and say, no, not in our community. Did you know that the city's own data showed that 47% of calls to MPD can be diverted to non-police response? Cops aren't social workers.
Oh, send a social worker in. Domestic disputes. Send a social worker in. Man wants to kill people. And it gets worse. In Minneapolis, Omar Fatah angrily declared that the greatest threat to the U.S. are white Americans. Sounds like Mamdani. Take a look.
We heard them being called terrorists. We heard them being called drug dealers. We heard a lot of insults. We heard that they're a threat to our national security. And that's a flat-out lie. You want to know who the real threat is, Madam President? I'll give you a hint. They don't look like our chief author. They don't look like the folks up in the gallery. According to DHS, Madam President, the greatest domestic threat facing the United States comes from, quote, racially or ethnically motivated violent extremists, specifically those who advocate for the superiority of the white race, not our immigrants.
The Democratic Party in Minneapolis is supporting him over an incumbent Democratic mayor. And kind of like Mamdani, he wants to have higher taxes for white neighborhoods. Now, keep in mind, this is a mayoral candidate for a huge American city, just like New York City, home to many major corporations. And yet, take a look at your screen. He refers to the country of Somalia as his home. We saw the same sentiment recently from a Democratic Congresswoman, Delia Ramirez, who apparently values her home country of Guatemala more than the country she was elected to represent. Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Mark Warner, Mark Kelly, Hakeem Jeffries. This is your Democratic Party. All of you are completely powerless, gutless, and will never dare challenge it. This is now a party obsessed with socialism, Marxism, anti-Semitism, woke, gender theory, critical race theory, defund, dismantle, no bail laws. Is there anyone outside of little old John Fetterman in Pennsylvania with the courage to occasionally stand up and say, no, this is not the party I grew up in? Or is the Democratic Party too far gone? Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.